But I still want to do more to support saving. And so third, we will completely change the tax treatment of defined contribution pensions to bring it into line with the modern world. There will be consequential implications for defined benefit pensions upon which we will consult and proceed cautiously, so the changes we announce today will not apply to them. But 13 million people have defined contribution schemes, and the number continues to grow. We've introduced flexibilities, but most people still have little option but to take out an annuity, even though annuity rates have fallen by half over the last 15 years. The tax rules around these pensions are a manifestation of a patronising view that pensioners can't be trusted with their own pension pots. I reject that. People who have worked hard and saved hard all their lives and done the right thing should be trusted with their own finances. And that is precisely what we will now do. Trust the people. Some changes will take effect from next week. We will cut the income requirement for flexible drawdown from £20,000 to £12,000, raise the cap drawdown limit from 120% to 150%, increase the size of the lump sum small pot fivefold to £10,000, and almost double the total pension savings you can take as a lump sum to £30,000. All of these changes will come into effect on the 27th of March. Now, these measures alone would amount to a radical change, but they are only a step in the fundamental reform of the taxation of defined contribution pensions I want to see. I'm announcing today that we will legislate to remove all remaining tax restrictions on how pensioners have access to their pension pots. Pensioners will have complete freedom to draw down as much or as little of their pension pot as they want, any time they want, no caps, no drawdown limits. Let me be clear, no one will have to buy an annuity. And we're going to introduce a new guarantee enforced by law that everyone who retires on these defined contribution schemes will be offered free, impartial, face-to-face advice on how to get the most from the choices they will now have. Those who still want the certainty of an annuity, as many will be able to shop around for the best deal. I'm providing £20 million over the next 2 years to work with consumer groups and industry to develop this new right to advice. When it comes to tax charges, it will be possible to take a quarter of your pension pot tax-free on retirement, as today, but instead of the punitive 55% tax that exists now if you try to take the rest, anything else you take out of your pension will simply be taxed at normal marginal tax rates, as with any other income. So not a 55% tax, but a 20% tax for most pensioners. Now, the OBR confirmed that in the next 15 years, as some people use these new freedoms to draw down their pensions, this tax cut will lead to an increase in tax receipts. People on this side of the House understand that when you cut a tax rate that is punitively high, that can increase revenues. These major changes to the tax regime require a separate Act of Parliament, and we will have them in place for April next year. Mr. Deputy Speaker, what I am proposing is the most far-reaching reform to the taxation of pensions since the regime was introduced in 1921. But there is one final reform to support savings that I would like to make. Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is a 10p starting rate for income from savings. It's complex to levy and it penalises low-income savers. Today, I'm abolishing the 10p rate for savers altogether. And when I abolish a 10p rate, I don't sneakily turn it into a 20% rate like the last lot. I'm turning it into a 0% rate. No tax on these savings whatsoever. And we will almost double this 0p band to cover £5,000 of saving income. 1.5 million low-income savers of all ages will benefit. 2/3 pensioners will be helped. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the £15,000 new ISA, the pensioner bond, people given access to their own pension pots, a right to impartial advice, the 10p rate for savers abolished to zero. The message from this budget is this: you have earned it, you have saved it, and this government is on your side.